Alright guys, so we are back on developing this Gatsby app, and we kind of had to have a plan on what you want to put on the screen. I know we already know what we're trying to build. We're trying to build my site, which I don't, yeah, I still have it up. I know we're trying to build my site or something similar to this. Okay, so that's okay. But normally, you just wouldn't know and exactly what you want, and you're not just gonna wing it, right? It's just not right to wing it just like that, especially in a professional environment. In a professional environment, um, you wanna have what is called wireframes, which is basically a graphic idea of what your website will look like. If it's a personal project and it's for yourself and you just want to like wing it and just like put whatever, it's okay because you are the project owner, and who cares, right? You can always do and undo and do whatever you want until you like it. When you're dealing with clients or your job, well, that's different because you can't just go, how does the saying go? By the seam of the pants or whatever, something like that. You gotta do something, show them to them, ask them, if they agree with it, if they like it, if it meets their business requirements, things like that. And once they approve it, and here's the thing, in a lot of strict and tied down projects, once the client agrees to a design or to some type of work that they're done, it's done. It's locked down. You have to do that. And I hate when they do this when there's no flexibility because sometimes you realize things don't work out the way that you actually expect them to when you're in the middle of deployment. I mean, development, and you wish you could have that flexibility to change some things and still deliver the main point, deliver the satisfy the business requirements, but you know, they're putting a stop on it, and it's like, nope, sorry, we agreed to this. This is what we want. And I've been in projects like that. It's a pain in the butt. But yeah, so how to avoid that kind of stuff is, you instead of winging it, you have to have some kind of idea of, because depending on what you want, you got to start filling out this stuff here. So what kind of components you're gonna need and what kind of pages we're gonna need. So we know so far that we only need basically 2 pages because we're gonna do all our navigation is going to be in one page. It's going to be single page navigation, and the pages that is going to generate, the pages that is going to go from here, from the projects that we're going to put in there, are going to be basically generated by Gatsby and the slug that is going to pull from here, from the posts, from our WordPress sources and things like that. So these right here are not pages you have to build. This is all one page that you're gonna have to build eventually in a template, and inside that, and then that template is gonna be reused basically a bunch of times. So again, this goes to speak about the magic of single page application network frameworks. If we had to do this on a multiple page application framework or like a server side rendering, all of these will be different pages. There will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and etc., etc., etc. We have like, I don't know, 12, 13, 15, 19 pages that we had to build separately. This way, we only have one page that will service any of these depending on which one you click. It will be the exact same one, just being reused for whichever one you want to open. So that's the great thing about this. So because we don't need that, we only need one page for the main, which is going to be your home page, this one right here. Then that's all we're going to need. And the 404 is kind of like a nice, not a nice, but just kind of like a thing you have to have there just in case people end up in the wrong place and they try to put in some kind of I don't know, they try to write up here where they want to go, and then they kind of like make it up, like, oh, I want to go there. I want to go there, and it doesn't work. There's nothing there. So you had to have kind of like a 404. Mine is not really that crazy. It's very simple, as you can see. I don't really spend that much time on 404s, to be honest. So, but it should probably have it should probably be a little bit more, better than this. It should probably say, hey, you know what? Here's a link to go back to home or whatever. But you know what? Navigation, right? That's what they're for. Use it. so, yeah. So these are the pages we're gonna need. Images, don't worry about that too much. And the templates folder is not there yet because I don't want to talk about that until we actually start getting to that part. However, components, yes, we are going to. So we're going to restructure this a little bit. I actually would like to split this up a little bit, and we're gonna do that now. So make sure you click in this empty space area so you don't build, so you don't add anything inside the actual components. So just out here somewhere, and you can click this little file. I'm sorry, not that one. This one, new folder. Yeah, click that new folder, and we're gonna call that layout. Ooh, why am I capping everything? Sorry about that. Layout. Layout. Okay, it's kind of early. I'm still in my coffee here, guys. All right, so layout folder. So it actually no, I didn't want it up there. My bad. I apologize. So just drag it. Drag it to the SRC. What is it? Drag it to the SRC folder. And here it is now. Okay, sorry about that. I don't know what was I thinking. All right, so now we have the layout folder right here, and inside the layout folder, that's where we're actually going to keep this layout component. I don't like this layout component in layout CSS right where it is, so we're gonna move that down. So we're gonna go ahead and grab it and put it in there, and the layout CSS, put it inside there as well. And eventually, you know what, we're gonna get rid of this layout CSS because we're gonna use Sass, okay? But just for now, just leave it there for now. Now, some things are gonna happen here. Have you noticed some things broke? Okay, and the reason why is because like in this page, for example, which is probably the index page, or yeah, it's trying to go to components layout, and layouts is no longer in components, so it's not gonna find it there. Yeah, okay. So we gotta map this out correctly. So right here, the 404 is using the layout, right? And it's trying to lay out from layout to layout. So this one did refactor to the right place. That's one of the greatest thing about Visual Studio. If you have the right stuff in there, is that it will do this. It will refactor. And I think we did this. I think with this is path intelligence. I think it's part of it. Not exactly sure, but I think we talked about this already, where it will refactor all your links and stuff like that. So that way, if you had this in 500 pages, right, you don't have to go and change it in 500 pages and try to remember what all these 500 pages are. So it will do it once, and then the Visual Studio itself will refactor throughout everywhere that is being mapped to that place, to the new one. So we're gonna go ahead and save this file, because as you can tell, since it's open, it didn't save automatically. So we're gonna save that. And I think that might have been the only one. The other ones might have already. Okay, so they have another one. I'm pretty sure it's the index page. Ah, there we go. See, it's not, it didn't refactor here. So this one needs to go to, obviously, to the layout. If you have any doubts on, how it should go or where it should go, you can just do this, and you can see that the layout folder is there, and then you can see the layout page is in there. Oops. There you go. And then hit save. Oh, by the way, guys, so I know you probably noticed from previous videos, I had a different theme, and I changed it to this one now. So yeah, the other one, the black one that I had before, which is kind of like the dark one that comes original from Visual Studio, it was creating a lot of glare for me, and I hate, like every time I wanted to type or something, I could see myself, and I don't want that. So so I downloaded this one from WestBoss. It's called Cobalt 2. Cobalt 2. So if you like it, go ahead and find it, Cobalt 2, and whoops, and go ahead and download it. I think it's pretty cool. I like it. So yeah, give him a shout out. WestBoss is in Twitter. He's a pretty cool guy too. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and save this, make sure that everything's running fine. I'm gonna come over here, refresh, everything should be working the way it is. Alright, cool. Alright, so we're spending quite a bit of time on all this crap that we don't need to. Okay, so now I have this right here the right way, and my pages, okay, it's fine. My components is empty, so that's fine, because this is where I want to actually figure out what I need. So wireframings. Wireframing is how you actually decide what you need to put into the structure of your site. So because this is a small site, we don't have to do a whole lot, but I took the liberty to create this very quick wireframe, and this I did this in like maybe 10 minutes. Okay, if you have Adobe, you can do Photoshop, or you can do, which is even better for wireframing, Adobe XD. That is super amazing for wireframing. Um, you can also do Sketch. Is for Mac is awesome, and what's the other one? Balsamic. So there's a few out there. There's a few you can grab, and they'll pretty much do the same thing. But I didn't want to download any of that stuff right now, so I just used Photoshop for now. So basically, this is called a wireframe. Okay, I basically just set up a header up here, which is this, like that, and a footer down here, and then I have my main layout, which is basically just the background back there. You don't see it, and then my content, and my content, which is in the middle in here. So yeah, so the layout is this. Okay, so this kind of helps me visualize what I'm going to need, right? So if I turn everything off, I know I'm gonna need a layout right here. Okay, so this right here is basically my layout here, right? That will wrap the entire application. Okay, so everything that is global, that is going to apply to the entire website, should probably go here. Okay, it should be coded into here. And now, what is the layout going to encompass? It's going to encompass all the pages that are inside it. Okay, that includes header and footer and my main content. Okay, and that's what is all going to go in there. However, the header and the footer are going to be pretty much ever present no matter what page I go into. Okay, every page is going to have the same header and the same footer, and we don't want to have to load this page over, I mean this header and this footer over and over and over in each page. We want to just code it once, and just this is the only part that we need to change on a page by page basis. This one and this one will be the same one on every page, right? You don't want the header to change, or the footer. So so in order to do this, I can do it two ways. I can either, I go ahead and turn this off. I can either keep it as part of my layout, my header and my footer as part of my layout, or I can make a component for the header and the footer and keep them separate from my layout. Okay, I like doing that for two reasons. Because in many occasions, not in this particular website we're building, but in other websites that you'll build, you will have two different layouts, sometimes even more than two layouts. Okay, for example, this could be the authorized layout, or the layout for people who are authorized to be and who are logged into the site, and they can see the header, they can see a bunch of menu items, with things that only they can see because they're authorized to be in there. But people who are not authorized to be in there, like a public sector or something like that, they don't need to see the stuff that's in there. So there will be a different layout for those people that are not authorized, and you could call it public layout, for example. And so the header will be a little different for them. So because you have to have that kind of conditional layout, then that's why it's not a good idea to put a header and the footer as part of your layout, but keep them separate, so that way you have different layouts and inject the header and the footer that you need independently, depending on the header that you need. Even better, you could have a layout that doesn't even have a header and a footer, that it has, for example, a login window, right? That could happen. You could have one like that is your login, your login layout, basically, so to speak, and your layout, and your I'm sorry, and your logout. So this layout right here that I would have built, for will be used, that doesn't have a header or a footer, will be used for login, will be used for logout. So like a little message saying, hey, would you like to log in again? You've been disconnected, something like that. Or a register, for example. Those one, that are not logged in but don't have an account or whatever, you need to register. or activate passwords, activate accounts, change passwords, like, hey, you forgot your password, change whatever. So all of those things that obviously don't have access to a header because you need to log in first or have an account in order to log in and see your header and your footer. So all of that will require that layout that is completely different, and it has usually some kind of form here to register, log in, log out, things like that. So now you see why you need different layouts, and they would all go here. So you have this one could be a little bit more specific than just layout. It could just be called main layout, and then you have another file in here as well called login layout or auth layout, and another one called public layout, and like that. So depending on what you need. And because of that, that's why I don't like to have my what do you call it, my header and stuff like that as part of my layout. Okay, I like to keep them separate and then inject them if I need to into the layout, and you'll know what I mean. Okay, what I mean by this is I don't like to come over here, for example, in my layout right here. Yeah, so I don't like to come over here in my layout and start typing, and start building my header and my footer like that. Just call this whatever. Hey, my footer, my header, hey. And then over here my footer, boo, my footer. Okay, nobody likes the footer because it's always hidden. So I don't like doing this. This is not component. This is not a component that I'm injecting. This is actually HTML. This is a semantic HTML tag header and a semantic HTML tag footer. Okay, so let me go over here. So I don't like to do this. See, this will work, but I don't really like to do this. Instead of doing this, I'm gonna minimize this. Instead of doing this, I would like to have a component. I'll have to keep my layout the way it is, and then have my component in here, create in my component a header. Okay, so I'm gonna go in here into my components, and I'm gonna create a new folder, and I'm gonna call it header. Okay, and I'm gonna go in my component as well again and hit another folder for footer. My God, I can't write. Okay, so now I have two folders inside my component, one for the footer, one for the header. Inside my header, I'm going to create my first file, which is going to be, let's just keep it all small, footer.js. And then, wow, that goes there. Okay, all right, sorry, I put it in the wrong one, so just drag it over to the footer is fine. And then in my header, I'm going to have, obviously, you named it, you guessed it, header.js. Okay, cool. So everything works fine. All right. So now in here, inside my header right here, this is where I will put my header. So you can just go ahead and do something like that for right now if you want to. It's not gonna probably work because it's not importing any type of rendering, but just as a reference. So you can put your footer stuff in here, you can put your header stuff in here in the header, and just so you don't get any errors, just comment it and hit save. And same thing with the footer, comment it with, but to comment quick, just do Control// and it does that real quick. Save that, and then in the layout it's already commented. Now, however, this is what I'm going to do. Okay, so here, instead of doing what I did before, what you saw here, now I can come over here and import header from components. Sorry, I need to go back a step, maybe 2 steps, maybe 1 more step. There you go, components, and then in components I'm going to use my header. Okay, same way, I'm gonna just copy this paste it here, change that to footer, change obviously this to footer. Okay, so now that I have mapped and imported my header and my footer to where they live, I can come over here and just basically use this tag that I use for importing as a regular HTML. So header, that's fine, and footer, just put it down here. Okay, so now by doing this, I am injecting in here this header, and I'm injecting in here this footer. Okay, again, and I don't know if this is probably gonna do anything at all, but yeah, it didn't. You can't resolve anything in there because the actual files are not rendering anything. So this is just I wasn't expecting this to run. I just wanted to show you what is the best, or what I consider to be, I can just delete these, what I consider to be the best way to structure your pages so that you have that separation of concerns. So that way you have your header coming in from here and your footer coming in from a different component, and you can always use them here and use them in a different one, in a different layout if you have to. So it makes it a lot more flexible, so to speak. All right, so let's see the component, the header, something's still not running. So yes, because all this stuff here is not really. So I'm just gonna delete all this because we're gonna be doing this the right way, and I don't wanna have it break the. And then this right here, I can just hide it. There you go. Okay, that should all be working fine now. The header. Okay, so the files exist. They're there for us to use them, and that's fine. And we don't need to know anything about this 404, and we'll eventually get there. Okay, so now that you know how it works, another thing that I wanted to show you here before I leave is, as you can see, then I have my header, I have my footer, and I have my content full width. And then in some other pages, I will be needing a main and a main container and a sidebar. So I just keep myself reminded of all these possible components that I'm gonna be that I'm gonna end up needing, and that's how I will know what to build, and and in the components folder or the layouts folder, and as I need to. But this wireframe right here, this very rough wireframe, is a great way to kind of map out your ideas in graphic representation, and then just give them to your project manager or your client and let them know, say, this is the way I'm going with this kind of layout for this kind of layout for that. And eventually you're going to start seeing more of it. Obviously this is not it, obviously, but this just kind of gives you an idea of where we're going with it, and then they'll be like, okay, great, yeah, all right. So this was basically talking about the feature structure instead of the material UI. So I'm sorry about that. We'll do that on the next one. All right, see you later.